Today we're going to talk about the wrist. The right wrist, if you're a right-handed fiddle player. It would be a left wrist if you were a left-handed fiddle player, which there are those people out there. But we're talking about the bowing wrist today. I've had a lot of people over the years come to me and they want to achieve more fluidity or connectedness in their playing. And they think that they can achieve that by having a really loose wrist. And a loose wrist can be a part of that equation, but sometimes I get people that are trying to play with something that looks like a dish rag, which, you know, it doesn't really facilitate the proper movement. I often think of it as a loose wrist with a governor on it, because it's a loose wrist in that it's loose to the point that it facilitates the right bowing movement, you know, a straight bow. The bowing is done from the elbow down, the actual movement. So we have forearm, wrist, hand, and fingers. They move the bow. The upper arm does not move the bow, except for to move from the G, lower it to the D, lower it to the A, lower it to the E, right? So that's what the function of the upper arm is, but the bowing actually comes from the elbow down. And when people are using their upper arm to bow, we call it rowing the boat. A lot of beginners, they haven't figured that out, and it looks like when they're bowing, they're rowing a boat because they're using their whole arm from the shoulder down. We've got to learn how to use it from the elbow down. And I've developed some exercises over the years that I think really help with that. Alright guys, before we get to the rest of the video, I just want to mention that we have a free beginner's violin/fiddle course for you on the website. That's MatthewHartsMusic.com, and it has all of the foundational things that you would need, including learning about the violin and the bow, playing basic melodies and scales so that you get used to using your fingers on the violin. And once again, it's free, so all you have to do is sign up on the website to get it. And now back to the video. And to learn the basic movements, I've got something I call throw the ball, catch the ball. And I'm going to pretend like I have something like a racket ball or a tennis ball in my hand. I'm going to turn it over like I'm bowing, because if we're bowing, we've got the bow held out here like this. Our hand's in a shape like this anyway, and from my vantage point, this looks like a triangle. You know, it looks like something that would hold a ball, and I've got that ball held in there, right? So now I'm gonna pretend like there's a wall just right over here to my right, and I'm gonna throw that ball. And as I throw it, my wrist bends backward, my fingers splay out, and as the ball comes back and I catch it, my wrist goes back over into that gooseneck position, and my fingers close. So throw the ball, catch the ball. Throw the ball, catch the ball. I really like that movement and emphasizing those points to getting people on the right track to having that looser wrist that they want. If you remember the movie The Karate Kid, we have those the lines from Pat Morita in there, where wax on, wax off, or paint the fence. And I think the same thing, paint the fence. It's the same movement. If I can show you from the side, you know, just practicing those things. Now, I have a wall exercise that I think really helps with all of this stuff and getting the basic movements down. Therefore, getting some fluidity into your playing or connectedness. Okay, so here we are at the wall. First thing I want to say is you don't have your back flat against the wall. The right shoulder needs to be against the wall. I've also got my right foot against the wall down here. It gives me a little more stability. And I've got my right elbow against the wall. Those are the two most important points, is to have the shoulder and the elbow contacting the wall. Now on the exercise, you'll notice your elbow comes out from the wall sometimes a little bit, but that's not important. What's important is that it can't go backwards. So we're going to start with just some open string exercises here. On the G, we get up a little bit higher on the wall with our right elbow, right? And then so 4 on each string, and each string is a little bit different.
drop that elbow even more for E. So just those open strings even. Right? Then try a simple song, something like Tennessee Waltz. Focusing on that elbow and that shoulder contacting the wall and feeling what it feels like to have it stop with the wall, right? Then you can do something like a fast tune, say like a St. Anne's Reel. So you can do anything on the wall as far as playing, but it's just to get your body to learn that movement, to not let that elbow go further back than it should and get you rowing the boat, right?
Now, all this being said, these are great tips, but when you're learning to play an instrument, especially something like the violin and using the bow, your body has to learn the movement. It's about repetition, and sometimes the body will behave exactly the way it needs to get the job done, and so patience is really good here, to realize that your body will kind of come along if you're fighting with some of these things a little bit, and just keep that in the back of your mind as you're doing the exercises.